We as Good Day are no bad news, and we love to showcase local businesses, something that's new and like quirky, something that maybe like pushes the bounds, getting involved in the community. What's going on in the community? How can people find you?
Presented by Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. You're listening to Lights, Camera, Learn. All right, welcome to another episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. Our guest today is Bella Kunde. She is a reporter with Good Day and a sports reporter with CBS 13 here in Sacramento. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you're the first person we've had on here as a sports reporter.
Really?
Yes. We've had a couple others who are reporters, but nobody from the sports world yet.
Well, I'm very new, so
that's
I hope
okay.
I can help you guys in any way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in sports reporting?
I've always been interested in sports reporting. I played sports growing up. I have an older brother. He played every sport under the sun, so therefore I played every sport under the sun.
Sure.
And then my dad was the coach, our coaches throughout all of that. And I've loved sports. It's been something that's been in my family. It's not just an activity. It's something like we bond over.
So what were some of the sports that you played?
I played everything. I mean, I did badminton in high school because it was just fun. My friends thought it would be silly, but seriously, I played basketball and soccer growing up. I played both of those sports competitively. I did play competitive volleyball, but throughout high school, and it narrowed down to basketball and soccer.
Okay. So then, having gone through doing that as an athlete, then what got you interested in taking that experience and becoming a reporter?
I just thought I had, as an athlete, sports are everything. And for me personally, I couldn't imagine living in a world where I'm not involved in sports somehow.
Okay.
So I always, I feel very fortunate because I have grown up with great coaches and great teammates, great girls, great guys, and everything. And just everybody's got a story. And so like finding the right story is, nobody's exactly the same. Everybody's got a unique perspective. Everybody's got their own story. But honestly, selfishly, I couldn't imagine a life where I'm not involved in sports somehow.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
So who were some of your mentors?
In
athletics? Sports? Yeah, first, let's go there.
I would say, my dad was a coach growing up. He coached me in basketball. He was a great mentor. I had phenomenal soccer coaches, Randy and Matt. Shout out Coach Randy and Matt.
There you go.
But in terms of like players, I goalie trained with the girl. I'm from Vacaville, and I used to go to Vacaville Christian School before I went to Vacaville High School. And there was a girl named Caitlin Rowland, and she now plays professional soccer, and she went through VCS. She was older than me, and she trained me in goalie, and just phenomenal people.
That's great. So what about on the reporting side? Any mentors there?
Everyone and anyone. I would say everyone at CBS and Good Day. You guys are really killing the game. I appreciate you so much. But I don't know if we're going to get to like how I got to CBS, but like going back. We can
go there now.
Okay, let's go there now.
Yes.
So when I graduated high school, it was 2020, like Sophie out there.
Yeah.
March 13th was my last day of senior year of high school. And then I went to
COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yep.
Horrible. And so then I went to San Diego State, but my freshman year was online. So, I didn't go to campus, which stunk. But, I was like, just made sense. So my freshman year was online, so I stayed at home. No experience, no jobs, nothing was really happening. As you can imagine, the world was shut down.
Yep.
And so when I got to campus my sophomore year, I was not involved in the way like I wanted to be. Part me, part the situation. Like I'm at school and half my classes are online and half of them are in person, and some clubs have meetings and some internships are open, but there's only X amount. Like it was a whole crazy thing to like try and navigate. But then when, at the end of my sophomore year, I sat next to this girl on a bench, and her name was Jenna Meyer, and I just heard her talking to her friend, and she said something about SDSU women in sports. And I said, I was like, I'm so sorry to eavesdrop, but what are you talking about? And she goes, oh, well,
Because you heard the word sports.
Yep.
Yep.
Women in sports. And I was like, yes. And so then she goes, oh, I'm the president and I founded this club this year. It was like 2021. So that was the founding year. She's like, I founded this club, Women in Sports, girls who want to work in the sports industry. So I would say like in college, she was one of my first mentors. This was Jenna Meyer. And that was at the very end of my sophomore year. You know, she was so kind, like, come join. You know, we meet on Tuesdays, I think it was at the time. We meet on Tuesdays, and I mean, when I tell you there were like probably like 4 or 5 meetings left, like less than, like it was that tail end of the school year.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like I went to the meeting and all the girls were great. And so then the next thing that happened was they were having elections because the seniors, the founders of the club, they were graduating. So they were having elections for the next board member.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've been to one meeting, so I guess I'll apply. And so I applied to be...
Because that gave you experience.
Yeah. So I applied to be the vice president of communications, and I got the role. And I was like, shout out, you guys. I wrote a bomb speech, and I know I did. They're probably like, who is this girl that showed up to one meeting?
Right.
And so then in the middle of all that, you know, trying... Like my first meeting, they're like, I'm just listening to these girls talk, and they're like, well, did you apply to the marketing internship? And I'm like, what marketing internship? And so then I go online and I find this marketing internship through SDSU Athletics, and I apply for it the day it was due. Like
Boy.
It was nuts. And I was just like, all right, like, go with God. Here you go. The day it was due. And I have nothing on my resume at this point, literally nothing. And I hear back from the marketing people. They want to interview me, and I was the first. I applied the day it was due, and I was the first person they interviewed. It's just like so funny how that worked out. And I got the position, and it was for the following year, my junior year. And that just kind of like kickstarted everything. Literally sitting next to this girl on the bench, eavesdropping, applying to a marketing internship with our athletic program. That really kicked things into gear for my junior year. I was also a member of a club called Girl Gains, and it's just girls who work out. And I was a board member for that as well, but still like in a leadership role. And then my junior years, I started as a marketing intern for SDSU Athletics. My manager there, her name was Lisa, and she was incredible. And shout out to Lisa, because she is just so dialed in. Like, a woman in sport is Lisa. She has everything timed down to the minute for the football games. She knows what team is doing what. She was often, you know, my junior year, I think one of her co-managers left, and so she was doing like 3 people's job. Like, she's awesome. And so she was a phenomenal mentor. And then junior year, I was still growing and evolving. And I think I started like just kind of picking up on things.
Yeah.
Like in San Diego, there's a news station called KUSI, and it's, you know, local news, but they have a big Friday night football show called the PPR, the Prep Pigskin Report. And I just started following these girls that I knew did it on Instagram and social media. And I was like, oh, wait, like, I recognize her. Like, I might have a class with her, you know, like, you know. And so how do I get involved with the PPR for next year, like for my senior year? So I'm just kind of like laying low and like trying to follow these girls. And then the spring semester starts, and this girl walks in, and I was like, I know exactly. So I'm like, she's probably like, this girl's crazy.
Like you're stalking her or something, right?
I mean, I was like, are you, you know, and her name was Nicole. And I was like, are you Nicole, like from PPR? And she was so kind, and she's like, yeah. And I said, well, how'd you get involved with the PPR? Like, who do I contact?
Yeah.
She gave me the email. She gave me everything, and she's killing it. Nicole is killing it. And I was like, amazing. Thank you. So reached out to them, got set up for the PPR the next year. The summer going into my senior year of college, I interned with the Oakland, emphasis on Oakland, the Oakland A's, and in their sales department. So I had phenomenal experience.
So did you come up to the Bay Area? Well, you were probably...
I lived in Vacaville. So
right,
I would
so you were
commute
already
from
there,
Vacaville
right.
to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I also interned at City Hall one summer. I don't know if we
boy.
want to talk about
Okay.
that.
That's definitely not sports.
No.
Yeah.
That was like my first professional internship ever. That was like sophomore year. But so much fun. I love them. And so going into junior year, I had a lot of things under my belt, right? I had women in sports. I had Girl Gains. I had SDSU marketing intern, or athletic intern, excuse me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Oakland A's. And so like it's all like working, but it's not like media. Or
Yeah.
It's not like journalism.
And what was your major?
Communication.
Okay.
And I minored in journalism.
Got it.
And so when I got to senior year, I was so excited for the PPR because I was like my first like toe in the water of, yes, this is like this is exactly what I want to do, and this is going to answer like your mentor question. So I joined the PPR, and how it works is, I mean, they cover so many games in one night. It's amazing. It's incredible. And so I served as a red jacket reporter. Like we wear these cheesy red jackets. I love them. I still have mine. But I'm a red jacket reporter. So I go out to the football games, and I was not live, but I would go out, I would get B-roll, and we would basically like put together a news package, and we would post it to like our YouTube, which has hundreds of thousands of followers over the years. And that would be like kind of like, you know, the high school players would look for it. They called them hogcast, you know, keeping with the pig theme, right?
Okay.
So funny.
Yeah.
I work for the Pigskin Report. I'm doing my hogcast. Like, it is the funniest thing. And so, you know, I'm doing that. And then right after, maybe I did 2 games, and then one of the main, he's a sports anchor, but in addition, the main guy for PPR, he picked me up to work with him. And on Friday nights, I would go with him. And in addition to being like one of the main sports anchors, he would go out and he would like, you know, shoot the highlights of the games.
Okay.
Like, he's so talented. And his name is Brandon Stone. Brandon, love you. And he is just a natural like teacher. He taught me everything I know. I would not be here without Brandon, because, you know, I'm watching him and he is just so like smooth in the way he delivers.
Yeah.
And I'm helping him, and like he's recording stuff that's like recorded, but then he's also doing live stuff later, and you know, I'm just like, wow. And he goes, Bella, and I had like a big old notebook, right? Because I wanted to be prepared. So I had like the matchups and the teams and the players and everybody. He's like, hey Bella, can I see like your notebook real quick? I was like, yeah. He's like, he throws it. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, start talking. And he pulls out his like camera, and he's like, and I'm like, what? He goes, just go. Like, and I'm like, well, you know, Oak Ridge is doing this, and so is well, not San Diego, right? It's like, Mater Dei's doing this, and you know, they're doing that, and blah blah blah. And he goes, did you need those?
Right.
And I was like, I guess not. I was like, I needed them to like get the information in my head, Brandon. And he's like, well, you didn't need them while you were talking, did you?
Right.
And so
that was a good lesson.
Oh my God. I was like, my notebook is now so disorganized. It was so funny. Like he's definitely somebody that I would consider like the biggest mentor, and I miss him, and I wish I could still hang out with him on Friday nights.
Yeah.
But he's the best, and he got me 100% to where I am.
So did you have experience at all going into college doing any kind of sports reporting?
No.
Okay.
No.
That was it.
That was
okay.
it. That was it. So when I graduated from college, you know, I feel like my resume looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Selfishly, if I may say, I'm like, yeah, I have a professional sports team. I have
right.
a marketing internship for SDSU. I'm on camera for like the Prep Pigskin, you know? I was like, and so when I applied, when you graduate college, I did, you know, what everyone does. And I applied to a boatload of jobs. Yeah. And because of my experience, let me back up. My friend and I also started a podcast on campus. So that was like my second like media experience.
This was at San Diego State,
yes.
And it was sports, I'm sure.
Yeah, we called it Sideline Sounds.
Okay.
And we're still on Spotify. All the episodes are like 2 years old now.
Yeah.
But it was called Sideline Sounds, and it was my friend and I, and we just interviewed athletes, soccer players, football players, baseball players, softball, track, anything. And we just talked to them.
Yeah.
Who they are, their game, and everything else. So.
Did anybody pick that back up after you left?
No, that was just kind of like our own.
Oh,
thing.
Really?
We didn't
okay, that's too bad.
I know, it is too bad. We were texting the other day, and we wish we might bring it back. How about that?
Okay, there you go.
So no, it was a blast, and it was so much fun. And because of like my marketing internship, you know, I felt perfectly comfortable being like, hey, Cooper from football, you want to come be on the podcast? Like I met them, you know, so it was so much fun. But so yeah, by the time I graduated, I'm like, I've started my own podcast. I did the PPR. I did all of these cool things. And then I applied to a bunch of jobs, you know, in what I classify as sports business. So like marketing and sales and events, things that I got experience in, and then media. And all of the jobs in media were like, we think you're great, but we're looking for people with more experience. And I was like,
sounds familiar.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, how do I get experience if I can't get this entry-level internship? All of the jobs in marketing and sales or whatever, I feel very blessed to say that I got interviews for most of them, and I got some really wonderful job offers from great sports teams that coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I'm like, sorry, it's all working out somewhere else.
Right.
But in the moment when I got them, I was so honored and grateful, and I'm like, is this what I need to do? And then in the middle of all of that, I applied to grad school at Arizona State in the Cronkite School.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm sending in like hundreds of resumes. Like, what is one more resume? Like, they're just asking for my resume and for me to write like a 1-page essay. Like,
sure.
I can totally do that, And then, so I did that. And then I got in to the grad school.
Did you?
Yep.
Congratulations. That's pretty big.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, that's such an honor. I mean, there's such a phenomenal program. And the guy, the recruiter, the advisor, whatever you want to call him, he was so amazing. And I still bounce ideas off of him now. Like, he's been such a great connection. But when I'm freaking out because it's May and graduation is coming up and I should be enjoying my time and laying in the sun in San Diego, I'm freaking out. I think like, do I take this marketing job with the Padres that I was offered? And because I loved San Diego. How can you not? Do I take this marketing job with the Padres and do I work my way like up and around and through, but like like I take it and like I'm in the sports industry, like I did the thing, I'm almost doing the thing, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. So scarily, I said no to the jobs I was offered, and the one I think about is the marketing job for the Padres, just because I loved the Padres and San Diego and just the whole...
And it ended up being the only professional sport that's still left there.
Yeah, they've got women's soccer, they've got rugby, but they don't have like basketball or football or things like that. And so I said no to the jobs I was offered, and then at the moment I decided that I wanted to go to grad school, because at the moment it changed quickly after that. But I was like, okay, like they're saying that I am missing something. Like, is this the thing that I'm missing? Like, if I have the Cronkite School diploma, are they going to be like, oh yeah, like, you have what we need, or like whatever. And so then literally my mom and I graduated from San Diego State. We packed in my apartment. My mom and I flew to Arizona to look at apartments. We toured the Cronkite School. Phenomenal facility.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal. To like learn there would have been amazing. And I'm just like, okay, like this is what I'm doing. Like, I wasn't really excited by it.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just doing it. And I felt like a call on my heart, and I felt like it was from God, and it was just like, you're doing this like for the wrong reason. Like, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. But I'm like, well, what do I have left? Like, I feel like I kind of like screwed myself in a way, because I said no to all the jobs I had. So I'm like, okay, like this, like I screwed myself. Like, I pigeonholed myself.
Right.
Like, I had phenomenal opportunities with the Padres, with other teams, with Turning Point USA. like I was just like all over the place, and they were phenomenal opportunities. But I said no, and I'm like, okay, God, like I said no. Now I have this. What do I do now?
Right.
Like, and you're telling me no, like, and so literally we come back to Vacaville. And we hang out for like a week and like sleep on it. I don't think I slept that week because I was just so stressed out, because I needed to like make a decision, and I needed to like find the apartment and like start all of that stuff all over again.
Yeah.
Like, all of my college stuff is still in the blue IKEA bags in the garage, and I'm just like, what do I do? Like,
they're a constant reminder, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, the clock is ticking. And so literally, because I remember I have a journal. Like, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to grad school. Like, I'm just going to do it. And then my mom and I are sitting at the computer, and we're just kind of like looking at what's, the information. And I was like, I just really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
She goes, I know you don't. And I was like, I just don't want to go. And for how much it costed too, I was like, learning at the Cronkite School
absolutely.
would be incredible.
Yeah, you're in one of the
top 5. And I would love to just like go and observe. Like, that sounds amazing. But I was just like, I just don't want to do this. And she goes, that's okay. Like, so what are you going to do? I don't know. Like, and so then she goes, you don't have to decide right now. She goes, but, so shout out to my parents for letting me live at home. And I took the summer, not even the summer. I would probably say like, if I got home in May, from like May to whatever was left of May to June, I just kind of relax.
Yeah.
She's like, you just graduated college, like, clear your head. You know, I don't think you've slept in the past, like, 2 weeks trying to, like, figure out what you're going to do. Because, you know, when you graduate college, it's all this pressure of, like, your life is starting
absolutely.
right now. Like,
Right.
If you don't have a job, you're, like, 10 years behind.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like,
yeah.
So then she's like, just relax, lay in the sun, you know, like, relax. And so that's what I did, which is very hard for me. I'm not good at relaxing. I need to, like, be doing something because all I'm thinking about is somebody else is doing something that I'm not. And I was like, okay, so now I'm going to do my own thing. What does that look like? I developed, maybe it's slightly toxic, a little chip on my shoulder. And I was like, can I say this? I was like, screw you.
Yeah.
Whoever you is, I was like, screw you. You're not going to give me an opportunity, so I'm going to make my own opportunity. What does that look like? No idea. So then, I'm from Vacaville, and I went to Vacaville High School, and we have a great football program. You know, we're the first high school in the community, rich tradition, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to the head coach and his wife, and they're phenomenal people, and I love them so much. They've just become, like, another member of my family. And I was like, hey, I'm home from college, and I have an idea. Can I be the reporter for the Vacaville Bulldogs football, for Vacaville Bulldog football? And I said, this is what I did at my news station. And they were like, yeah, we follow you. You can do it. And they were, I was like, this is what I did at my news station. Like, can I come do it for you guys? It'd obviously be on a much smaller scale. Like, it wouldn't be on the news. It'd just kind of be for social media.
Sure.
You know, and they've got a ton of followers, and locally it's crazy. And they're like, yes, whatever you need. They're like, we will do whatever you need. And that's what I did. So after I graduated, spent my 2 weeks laying in the sun, regrouping, sleeping, and I just, like, hit the ground running with kind of being the reporter for the Vacaville High School Bulldogs. And I would go to their games on Friday nights with my phone, a tripod, Amazon microphones, because, you know, I'm not buying microphones like this, and just out there. Like, I'm Bella Kunde from Vacaville High School, and the Bulldogs are, you know, 5-1 against the, you know, 4-2.
So you were shooting yourself, editing yourself. Mm-hmm. So you were a multimedia journalist.
But I was just doing it on my phone. Like, I didn't have a camera.
Right.
So I was just kind of doing it on my phone. I got a phone upgrade.
Yeah.
And that was what I did.
Yeah.
It was time for you, like, you know, your iPhone to upgrade. And that was literally what I did. And so I was just out there. I had so many videos, and I don't even know if I downloaded them the correct way. I'm sure there's a much smarter person watching that knows how to do it easier than I do.
Probably Nick, who was in here earlier, for sure.
And so that's what I did. And I'd post them, or, you know, I'd send them, and they would post them on the Vacaville football page. And I would tag, like, local reporters that I knew in the area and cold email. And so that's the next step. Like, all while I'm doing this, I'm cold emailing people. People that I was connected with in college, people who I want to be connected with, people who have the job that I want. And it's all like, right, like, can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Can I pick your brain? You know, so many people didn't answer me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Forget no's.
Right, just
so
the lack of
so
response. Yeah.
I like where I'm at. I like creating my own thing. I liked the feeling that I had, even though it was, like, crazy and stressful and I was freaking out a little bit. I didn't feel such, like, turmoil as I did when I was, like, thought I was going to go to grad school. Like, I felt calm.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, but, like, I felt calm.
I
felt like I was
can
doing
understand
my thing.
that, yeah.
And so then how I got with CBS was I came across this girl, and this is another phenomenal mentor named Ashley Sharp. She works at CBS, and she's your reporter in Solano County. That's my county.
Uh-huh.
And so she did a story on the Wilsey Wood football team, which is actually, like, our rival. And I was like, amazing. And I was like, she knows Vacaville. She knows football. Like, this. And then I sent the email, and I literally was like, please, God, if anybody's going to respond, like, let it be this girl. Like, because then I found her, and I watched her, and I liked her energy that she gave off. I liked her vibes when she was anchoring and reporting, and, you know, little does she know I totally stalked her. And so then she said yes, and she met me for coffee. And she paid for the coffee, even though I told her I would pay. I have not forgotten that. Mm-hmm. And now we're coworkers, so I tell her I owe you coffee every day. And she was awesome. And so she was a news reporter, not a sports reporter. So she graciously set me up to shadow the sports guys, Jake and Brandon, who are phenomenal. And they help me so much. They're like, yes, here's this, we need help doing this. You want to learn how to do this? I'm like, yep, teach me whatever.
Yeah.
Teach me anything. And so I drive my butt up from Vacaville to Placer High School, which is so far.
That's it's well over an hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
To meet Brandon. And he's out at Placer High. I forget who they're playing. But then I just start talking to Brandon's cameraman. And me and Brandon's cameraman are hitting it off great. And the cameraman's name is Cecil. And Cecil and I just, I think I spent more time talking to Cecil than I did to Brandon. I'm showing him my videos that I made. He's like, well, let me see. You did that yourself? You shot that yourself? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's nothing like your camera. Like, he's got the big one, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's really cool what you're doing. And then I finish the night, and that's it. I meet Cecil. Wonderful. See you later. And then I finish the night at the station with Jake and Brandon, who so graciously gave me the time of day to shadow them. And then after the show at 11:30 p.m. And they're like, all right, now that we have a minute, tell us about you.
Yeah.
They gave me the time. Phenomenal. They could have just said, okay, good night.
Yes,
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They gave me the time. And then the next day, I send the thank you emails and the thank you text messages to Ashley and Jake and Brandon. And Ashley texts me back and she goes, Bella, oh my God, Cecil was so impressed with you and he wants you to come in for an interview. And I say this with absolutely zero disrespect because I am nothing without my cameraman. But I'm like, the camera guy wants to interview me. What stake does he have in hiring people?
Yeah.
And so then I at the station and I'm sitting in the little lobby and most cameramen, especially on Friday, because they're running from game to game, they're just in jeans and a t-shirt or in a sweatshirt. Here comes Cecil in his button down shirt and slacks, and I was like, who are you? He's like, Bella, I'm the director of news, or I'm the manager of news operations. And I was like,
oh boy,
shut
yeah,
up.
He wasn't just the photographer.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so then I meet him and he goes, I know sports is what you want to do. And he goes, I have a part-time editing job open. I said, I'll take it. He was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh. He's like, you know how to edit? Not as well as I do now, but I was like, yeah, easy.
I
Can totally do it. And so then, meanwhile, he has a whole editing system I've never seen before. But I was like, yeah, I got it. And so that's how I got my foot in with CBS.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about what you just relayed is you had a determination and a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And most people get distracted away from the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also divinely or otherwise
Mm-hmm.
presented opportunities that most people would have ignored.
Right.
And so, kudos to you for taking advantage of all of that and for putting yourself out there. Because that's really what I think it takes.
Yeah, definitely. If I always say that the door, you talk about life going through doors, right?
Yeah.
Which door is going to open when. The door is never going to open if you don't knock.
Yep.
How many no's did I get? How many people didn't email me? But one person emailed me back.
Yep.
If I stopped, she wouldn't have emailed me
No,
back.
you wouldn't have.
If I just decided, you know what, I'm done with this. I want to go, work at City Hall. Because, again, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
But, life's just going to pass you by. I called it, active waiting. You're waiting for the right opportunity. But the opportunity's not going to find you if you're just sitting and doing nothing.
Absolutely. So then, in your current role of both working on Good Day and then being a sports reporter, how do you balance those two, and what does a typical day look like?
So when I got hired on as an editor in November of 2024, that was my job. I was a part-time editor. I worked 20-something to 30-something hours a week. And the managers, they were awesome. They always knew I wanted to do sports, but that was what I did for 3-4 months. And what happened was in March of 2025, 2024 to 2025. In March of 2025, I was like, you know what? It's the new year. I'm going to try and just kind of put myself out there. So I talked to our news director, Pete, amazing guy, always was the first person to be go, do your thing. And so that I was like, hey, there's a great football player in Fairfield. Can I just kind of do a story on him and show you what I can do? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They gave me a photog, phenomenal. Shout out Mark. And so that's what I did. Mark shot it for me, and I wrote it, edited it, produced it, whatever you want to call it, all myself, and then sent it back. And I remember I'm at the gym, and Pete calls me, and he's like, hey, I really like your package. I'm going to run it at 4 and 5 today.
That's great.
He's like, oh, where are you? I'm like, I'm at the gym. He goes, yeah, I hear all kinds of like clanking. Okay, I'm going to run your package. Look for it. Hangs up. I'm like.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
That's what happened. And then from there, the next thing that happened was the Sacramento River Cats. We broadcast their home Saturday games.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, hey, we need a sideline reporter. And I was like, yes. Fire. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever you need. So that was that. And then from there, it was like, hey, it was like Monday. It was like, hey, Good Day needs help like this weekend. And I was like, what? Like, I'm sorry. I was just told the story to one of the Good Day people who I finally got to meet, or talk to for a long time. And she was like, what? Good Day needs up this week? Like, as in Saturday? As in 4 days from now? They're like, yeah, you got it. Like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, yeah, the River Cats are away. Like, why don't you just do it? Okay. Great. So.
See, again, you took advantage of an opportunity where somebody goes, I really don't want to work on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Saturdays and Sundays, they definitely have many pros, some cons.
Yeah.
Can't go late on Friday nights, but it's okay.
You just wouldn't feel very good.
Yeah. And it happens to the best of us, I must say.
Yeah.
But then that's how that happened. So then I performed well on Good Day, and they kept being like, yeah, like we can, borrow Bella whenever, as much as we can.
Yeah.
Whenever the opportunity, as much as we can borrow Bella, we will. And so for that summer, I was editing, doing Good Day on the weekends, or doing the River Cats. And when the River Cats were away, I was doing Good Day. And then our phenomenal sports department, Jake and Brandon, there was going to be like a time in the summer, July maybe, end of June, early July, when it was like, hey, we're both not going to be here.
Yeah.
Can we train you on how to produce the sports block? So I would be behind the scenes, and I'd produce the sports block, and they do everything.
Yeah.
Write, edit, put the lower third, all of that stuff, all the things I didn't know they had to do, right? And I was like, yeah. So I think I had one training. I was like, yeah, Bella, you're ready to rock. I had one training for 4 hours. And I was
must be a quick study, because all the things you're telling us so far is like, okay, I just walked in and they said, okay, here, you can do this.
I remember one of our sports guys, and he, in the most lovingly way, it was not a derogatory statement at all, but he's like, it's a sink or swim moment. And I was like, because I couldn't come in to train because I had to do Good Day or River or whatever it was, and then they couldn't adjust their schedule, and he's like, we were all just doing the best we could, and in the most lovingly way, he was like, sink or swim, and I was like, well, I swim. I'm a swimmer. Yeah. And so I think I got to work 5 hours early. When I did, because I didn't know what I was doing. I had 1 day of training for 4 hours, and so then that was in July. It was in July because I remember it was back-to-back days. And the first day I did it, it was a Friday. And I, when I was editing, I always still dress nice. I dressed like what I'm wearing right now, jeans and a nice top or a nice top, whatever. Except on Fridays, I'm very casual. But when I did sports, I had an inkling that maybe our news director, who was the one that was always like, yeah, go, River Cats, Good Day, might ask me to anchor sports. And I didn't. I was like, there's no way. That is such a big step. That's such a big opportunity.
Absolutely.
And then, but maybe.
Yeah.
But I purposely wore jeans and a t-shirt so I couldn't be seen on air. And I wore a Chapel Hill t-shirt. And I was just like.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way. And so then I'm in the sports office. It's a room barely bigger than this. Mm-hmm. And who comes knocking on the door? Our news director. Miss Bella, would you like to anchor sports today? And I literally was like, I can't. I've never been more, typically, I've said yes to every opportunity, but when he asked me, I was like, I can't. He's like, but he was like, yes, you can, and I was like, well, I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. But I was so nervous on producing the sports,
sure,
the actual task, because I wasn't comfortable in that yet. I felt like it was going to take me forever. And I said, I was like, I'd love to. I said, but honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed with having to do this. I have to do this block for 6 shows.
Yeah.
I've never done it before. Like, I'm a little nervous, you know. He's like, okay, I get that. And then he pauses and he's like, well, you're doing this tomorrow too, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, well, tomorrow is Saturday and there's only 3 shows with like 5 hours in between because it's at 5 and 10. So you can anchor sports tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And
he was not going to let you off the hook.
No, he was so amazing. And so then I just like, I remember he left the office and I like pulled like one of these like, again, because like I'm about to do the thing that like I want to do.
Yeah.
But yet I feel like a total imposter.
Yeah.
Total imposter. And I'm like, is he sure?
Well, I can kind of see that because not the imposter thing, I guess, but because you had not done what some people, right.
Yeah.
Some people had done it in college and then they found a way to do it in a small market.
Yes.
And here you are in Sacramento, not the biggest market, but it's in top 20 market. 20, right. And you're being asked to anchor sports.
Never doing
for a
it
CBS affiliate.
And I was just like,
not just to mention it's a CBS owned station. Not to put too fine a point on.
I know. Like, are the managers watching?
Right.
But no, I was just like, I was so grateful for the opportunity. I was humbled, but I was freaking out.
Yeah.
Because I did have a little bit of like, well, I don't deserve to be here, you know, because, you know, so many of our phenomenal reporters, and we have such a good team. I'm the youngest one. And they had to get their like foot in and their chops in at market 100 something. Yeah. And so like, I'm not gonna lie, like a part of me like almost felt bad that like, well, I feel like I shouldn't be asked this. I feel like he shouldn't be asking me to do this. You know, like I don't have as much, you know, I'm the youngest one at I'm the youngest one on Good Day. I'm the youngest one just in general. Like everybody's 28.
Yeah.
I would guess. And then I don't want to age anyone, but like I would guess like around 28. And I'm just like, here I am at the time I was 22, 23.
Right.
23. And what? So, but I did it. I anchored sports on that Saturday. I think I blacked out, but I didn't even know how to use the teleprompter.
Oh boy!
So I thought somebody ran the teleprompter.
So you had to do it. Was it a foot control?
It's a foot pedal.
Yeah,
that
is not easy.
No, I didn't know that. And so then the anchor, her name is Madison, and she was so kind and she's awesome and she does a great job too. And she's like, okay, like if you mess up like on the pedal, like I can run it for you. And I was just like, oh my god, like what? Like, she literally taught me how to use the foot pedal like 10 minutes before the show. Okay. And I was just like, well, here we are. No stopping.
Right.
And like, you can make it go backwards too.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I'm not going backwards.
Yeah.
It's too much. We're just going forward. If I mess up,
because then you're going to start repeating yourself and not even know it.
And so I anchored sports on that Saturday and it went so much better than I thought it would. Compared to where I am now, you know, obviously it was my first time. Where I am now is so much further, but
and you've anchored since?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we can get to that too. My journey's so crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was so cool, but I was so like nervous and freaked out and it was awesome. But then from there, I became like...
I want to ask you a question though. What do you think it is that the news director saw in you to make him say, I'm confident enough to put her out there like that?
You know, I am still asking myself that question because this news director, he just was always like, yes, Bella, yes, Bella, yes, but like, you know, I think he just saw that I'm willing to do anything. Yeah. I'm willing to grind and I'm willing to start like at the bottom. Like, you know, the shows don't happen without our editors, but without like, I had no experience, and so I was just like, yes, I'll edit. Yeah. Yes, I will produce sports. Yes, I will go shoot a what? A VOSOP? What is that? Right. Okay, sure, I'll go do that too. You know, so I think he just saw like my willingness to like get in there and do it and not complain. And, you know, I'm part-time, but they're kind of asking me to do a lot. And I'm just like, yes, I'll do it. You know, I think he saw that and really appreciated that.
Yeah, I bet that's true. Mm-hmm. So were you still part-time at that point?
I still am part-time.
You still are part-time. Okay. But you're a full-time part-timer.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And so
that's all right. Yeah.
And so then from there, you know, I anchored sports that one time in July, and then there was kind of like a pause in anchoring sports because they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to have me, not that I did bad. And they were very clear, like, you did not do bad. You did great. You did so much better than we thought you would. I was like, thanks, guys. But like I didn't do it on like a Monday or Tuesday. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like Saturday would
Yep.
be like the day to do it,
Yeah.
which I am game for.
Yeah.
Yes, totally understand.
Yeah.
But then Good Day started wanting me on the weekends. Like now the River Cats are done. So then I couldn't like anchor sports, but I'm on Good Day and I'm just like having a good time. And you've seen Good Day. I'm just
Yeah.
like running around
Yep.
doing crazy things all the time. Like,
So just you want to explain a little what that show is? Because
Yeah.
people outside the market may not know what.
yeah, so Good Day Sacramento is probably like the craziest local news show
Yeah.
you'll ever see. But it
Lifestyle is a very
so-
loose description.
Yeah, I mean, we live a crazy life.
Yeah.
So it's a morning show. It's 4 hours long, 7 through 11 a.m. It's different every day. And we have so I'm a reporter, and we have other reporters out as well. And so it's set up like a standard news show. But the news that the reporters report on is all good stuff. We like to
Yeah.
say we're no bad news.
Yeah.
You know, we have news blocks in our show, but we as Good Day are no bad news. And we love to showcase local businesses, something that's new and like quirky, something
Yeah.
that maybe like pushes the bounds. Getting involved in the community. What's going on in the community? How can people find you? You know, tell us your story and why your story like matters. And, you know, showcasing, we love kids on Good Day, like Little League baseball. Like I was out at
Yeah.
the Little Leagues 2 weeks ago and
Oh, that'd be
just
fun.
having them like jump around and showcasing them and having a good time. But, you know, with that, we also like to do crazy things. So like,
Yeah.
okay,
What's the craziest?
what did I do? I jumped through a table.
Through a table.
Through a table.
Okay.
So I don't know if you are familiar with the Buffalo Bills fan base, but before football games at their
They were doing the
tailgates-
whole thing where you crashed on a table, weren't
Yes.
they? Yes.
So I went to
You
a
jumped off a pickup.
yes.
Back into a
I went to a. I don't know if I said because I do like the Bills, so I don't know if I said this on the air, but somebody emailed the show, and I have a cameraman on the weekends named Ben, and I love being paired up with Ben because we're like the youngest ones there. And they're like, hey, like we're the Bills backers of Sacramento, and we would love to have Bella and Ben, you know, like out with the
It's a
Bills.
lot of alliteration there.
And I was like, Ben, we're going to the Bills bar. He's like, yeah. And so then immediately they're like, well, are you gonna do the table jump? And I was like, am I? It's like my mom told me not to.
Yeah, I bet she did.
In the video that they posted on Instagram, you guys can find it on the Good Day Instagram. You can literally hear me say like, "Mom, I'm sorry," and then I just
And then you jump.
I just jumped through a table. But they like back in the day for Good Day, man, they used to do all kinds of crazy stuff, and now we're getting back to that. We had a little kumbaya. We're all getting back to being crazy, so expect more craziness.
How did you keep yourself from getting hurt? Because
On the
people,
table?
Yeah.
I just hope
Because I see it, it looks like
yeah.
it's like a back break waiting
Now
to happen.
the table that I jumped on, the guy showed me and assured me that it was already broken. So I appreciated that, but I mean, it didn't feel good.
I'm sure.
Like I didn't jump on a mattress. I'm
Right.
jumping on a
Right.
table that a teacher probably has. You know.
Yeah, that's too funny. So now that you've had some experience doing both Good Day and sports, do you have a preference? You still want to get to sports primarily?
Sports is what I want to do long term.
Yeah.
I want to be a reporter at the Super Bowl. I want to work for like a big network, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously the news industry is changing, so what that looks like in 10 years, I have no idea. It could
Yeah.
look entirely different. And you know, I worked at the Super Bowl. I have a side gig with the NFL Alumni Association and
Oh, yeah?
Alumni Health.
Uh-huh.
And so I work Radio Row for them. This is my second time doing it this year, and just like seeing all the big like ESPN, CBS Sports, you know, Fox Sports.
Yeah.
Like, I know like that would be the ultimate goal, but also I'm like realistic and I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Sports is what I want to do long term. However, I am enjoying the heck out of Good Day because
Sounds like.
I do so much and every day is different. Like this morning, what did I do? There was a little kid in Stockton and he started his own business. A lemonade stand.
Yeah.
And he does so well. He's like, well, he's 10. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a millionaire. I want to start my
boy,
own.
at
And
10.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And then the next segment, I'm at, you know, the Stockton minor league baseball team, the
Yeah.
Ports. And I'm talking to them and what they're got going on this season. So no two segments for Good Day are the same, but like no 2 days for Good Day are the same. And the thing that Good Day has taught me is just to be like free flowing and like good on camera. And that was
Yeah.
something like going back to the PPR, Brandon, when he threw my notebook, he's like, you know what you're talking about. So just talk.
Yeah.
And like if you talk to me on Good Day, or if you ever see me on Good Day, I'm talking like I just maybe a little louder, but I'm talking like just I am right now because
A lot of times you're outside.
yeah, I am outside a lot. Just like I'm like, get me inside.
Right.
My hair can't handle the humidity. But Good Day is I'm enjoying the heck out of it because it's taught me so much. It's taught me to be free flowing. It's taught me to think on your feet where it's like, okay, this isn't working, or like this isn't really attention grabbing. Like, okay, now it's time to pivot.
Yeah.
What's interesting? Find what's interesting and talk about that. Your original plan, because for Good Day we like to think we plan things, but really like you can get to the segment and you're like, oh well, this person's way more interesting.
Sure.
This person has a better story. What is that? You know, and that's what Good Day has taught me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So what of your college experience do you think prepared you for what you're doing now?
In terms of classes, none.
Right.
No, I loved college.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this with my friend. I was like, I would love to like go back to San Diego.
Yeah.
But I had great classes, and professors. I was a communication major. So if we want to, of course, be like the public speaking aspect and things like that, for sure. In terms of like my marketing internship, and like I would say my marketing internship with SDSU and my Women in Sports Club, they taught me how to network.
Oh, sure.
And that was like something, I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
I didn't have a LinkedIn when I went to college. I now have a LinkedIn. And they taught me how to, you know, build those connections, coffee shop dates, or like whatever it is. Like that's what I learned from them. And like that's what I take away from them. In terms of like hands-on like reporting experience, obviously the PPR.
Yeah.
Throw the notebook away. Know your stuff, study your notes, but then throw it away.
Yeah.
So you know the information and you can just talk about that. But that would be like the main things.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the whole sports industry here, Bella, and you're seeing more women in the field, but still probably more progress needs to be made, what do you think it needs to happen to still make that even more so? More women in the field of sports journalism.
I think, honestly, and I feel like my angle might be a little different than what you think.
Okay,
but I
that's
think,
fine.
like, as girls,
yeah,
so many of us want to be Erin Andrews. I want to be Erin Andrews.
Yeah.
And we want to have the good hair on the sidelines with the cute outfit. But what I've realized, and I am so humble when I say this, like, because I've met people now, and they're like, I laugh because I'm like, I'm not where you think I am yet. Like, you know, I may post the good stuff on social media, but like,
right.
I'm not where you think I am yet. But I appreciate we need to be better at being more than just the good hair and the nice smile and the pretty face. And I think that, you know, that comes down to when people see your talent and your knowledge, they're going to know.
Yeah.
They're going to know that you studied. They're going to know your notebook is way too big. They're going to know that you know your stuff and that you deserve to be there. And I think that's something that girls need to do better. But then, you know, of course, like, you know, you want... does a girl really know football? You know, like there is that, but I would kind of like want to not like turn it back, but like have more accountability on the women as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now we're in a time where I guess you could say like being a woman is a bonus or being a certain whatever, but you need to live up to that.
Yeah.
You can't just show up on Sundays with your hair blown up and your makeup done, but not know what you're talking about. You know, I was producing the sports block the other day, and I humbly say this, I almost missed a story because I was just so like, you know, okay, the sports block, like I need this is what they told me. And our wonderful sports director was there, and he was like, did you see what I tweeted? And I was like, what? And I went to the Twitter and he like posted something, and I was like, dang, like I almost missed that one, you know? And or like would I have checked Twitter? And I've gotten to the habit of checking now.
Yeah.
But you know, like humbly I say that, and like that was kind of a little bit of a wake up call. Like, okay, you can be like OCD and stuff all you want, but you got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that would be my main thing.
Do you think there's more pressure on women to be that way, to know their stuff, than there is on male journalists?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I personally have not experienced that.
Okay.
But I think I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I think
so, because stereotypically, like as much as we might like to think that like stereotypes are gone, they're 100% there.
Oh yeah,
and they're always going to be there. And I have stereotypes about people, and I know they have stereotypes about me, and that's just how the world is.
Yeah.
But I think stereotypically, like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's assumption. Oh, you're a guy, you must know about sports. And there are
Yeah.
plenty of guys I've met that don't like sports at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But yeah, I think you're right. There is an assumption there. Do you ever get asked to speak in classes?
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
one time.
One? Okay.
Right before.
Okay.
It was like right when you emailed me too.
Yeah.
It was at Oak Ridge High School.
Yep.
And we had them on Good Day for Friday game day. So I now do Good Day 4 days a week. And I now fill in for the sports guys and do like feature stories. Whatever.
Yeah.
And so for Friday game days on Good Day, Friday football, right? We have a morning segment with high schools. And then at night we have the whole like Friday night newscast with all the highlights and everything else. But in the mornings we go to a high school for like the game of the week. And we have a big rally. Think of it like just that. Band, cheer, student section, football team, dance, whatever. We go live like 8 times. It's crazy. Like exhausted at 8 a.m. And
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's a lot.
And I remember I shadowed the girl, and the girl that did it before me was so stellar, like amazing, so good. She's engaged, they moved, blah blah blah, but she was just so stellar. And I remember I shadowed her, and I was like, "What? There is no way I could do this. Like, I'm like, we're going live 8 times. Like, that's crazy."
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, we have a big rally, and Oak Ridge High School was on it, and they were a lot of fun, as you can imagine. Great football program too. And so then they have a sports marketing club, a sports marketing and media club, and one of the girls who I met, at the high school, like reached out to me the beginning of the year around the Super Bowl. I remember because I was out of town for the Super Bowl, and I was like, I'll be back, in 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. So that was the first one. I think
that's pretty good.
Was it earlier this month or the end of February?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Because
one of the things that we're discovering is that since we work with a lot of schools that have media programs, there's a significant number of students that are dropping out of those programs. And we don't know why, and I don't know if it's because they're not specific enough to a topic, because I meet folks and they go, "God, I love sports. I wish I could have gotten in sports." I meet young people go, "Yeah, I really love sports. If I could do something in sports, I would." Do you think there needs to be a more defined program that steers students into sports and journalism and production?
I think that would be helpful. Yeah. But it's up to like the schools and stuff to create these clubs, and create these opportunities. So I did my stuff for Vaca High. Yeah. And I was just, out there myself. Yeah. Obviously I was out of college at that point. And then full circle moment, I go back there 1 year later with my little camera and my little microphone for CBS. And I just see these kids out there, and I kept seeing them because I would do like Friday game day, and then I would go get the highlights, and they would send me to games like in my region, right? So like I would go to like as far as Rodriguez in Fairfield. Yeah. And then, like basically Dixon to Rodriguez, whatever games were happening on Friday nights, they would send me to 2. And I just kept bumping into these like Vaca High kids. Yeah. And then eventually they came up to me and they're like, "Are you Bella from Vaca High football?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I'm like, "Who are you guys?" Because they've got like cameras, and they're like, "Oh, like we're the media production club of Vaca High."
Oh, that's great though.
And I was like, "Well, oh my God, like were you guys here last year?" And they're like, "No, we just started this year." I was like, that's good
great
stuff.
That is really good stuff.
Just it's up to the schools. Like I think obviously that yes, you need more.
What kind of advice would you give to any students that are going, "I really want a career in sports"? Not being an athlete.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard. Yeah. Everybody wants to work in sports, myself included. Yeah. The biggest thing is, one of our cameramen told me this, don't stop, keep going. Yeah. And you're going to hear 100 no's. Nobody's going to reply to you. Yep. You can see how many emails I've sent. Nobody's going to reply to you, but you can't stop, and you have to keep going. Your dream isn't going to happen if you stop. Yeah. The door's not going to open if you don't knock, and it's going to be tired, and you're going to want to cry, and it's okay to cry because I did when nobody was looking, but ultimately it's going to pay off. Yeah. And don't stop, keep going. And really, it doesn't matter what other people are doing, because now we live in the age of social media. And it's so easy to compare. And LinkedIn, Absolutely. Like I told you, Yep. I remember I first got my LinkedIn. I thought, oh my God, everybody's doing so much more than I am. Well, they're only posting what they're doing. You know? Yeah, like I posted when I went to the Super Bowl, but nobody saw me on my day off when I was eating donuts. Like seriously. That's a
good point.
And so that's part of it too. What other people are doing does not matter. Yeah. I graduated college, and I was so like, I knew in my heart I was doing the right thing. I felt like I was
Yeah.
doing my right thing in my gut. But then I looked at one of the girls I was in women in sports with, and I loved her, love her, and she got a job in exactly what she wants to do. And I'm like, well, why can't my journey be like that?
Yeah.
But now I have a crazy story.
Yeah.
And now I do these crazy things.
Yes, you
and
do.
now I'm on Good Day jumping through tables, and I can do the sports cast on Tuesday nights. Like,
Yeah.
So don't get caught up in what other people are doing, because their journey's not your journey.
Right. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where would you like to see yourself?
That's a great answer, or a great question,
yeah.
because I don't know the answer. I would tell you that I would just like to keep growing at my news station, but I do want to keep growing at my news station. But,
Yeah.
you know, what that looks like, what we do on a day-to-day is changing. Our
Yeah.
news station is going through immense changes itself, and I don't just... Speaking to my station specifically, we've got new managers.
Yeah.
Our set is getting renovated. We're going to AR, VR.
Oh my
We're
God.
doing
Okay.
all kinds of like crazy things, and it's crazy and it's exciting. And we're talking about like our product, right? Like our product is going to change.
Yeah.
And what that looks like, we don't know yet, but
Yep.
it's going to change. So hopefully I can continue and evolve with that as I get my chops. But I have... You know, like I said, I want to be at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I want to be that face on Sunday. But I also have other things I'm interested in as well. And I have connections for those other things that I'm interested to. Do I foster those? Do I continue with that? I have phenomenal connections that are just, I'm like, I cannot believe I know these people. And just seeing where those go.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to the Super Bowl the past 2 years, you know. I didn't think I would go to the Super Bowl. The week those Radio Row, like what the heck, like that was just literally just like one connection to the next. So a lot can happen. Obviously a lot's happened in 1 year of my life, and 5 years from now, I don't know, I just want to be doing something big. Like I just feel...
I have a feeling you will.
Oh, thank you. I just feel like this call to do more, and what more is, I don't know, just like I told you, I'm like, screw you, whoever you is. Like more, like I never want to stop growing and learning. The thought of like staying in the same spot like a year from now like terrifies me. And like that was my thing with the station. It was like, okay, like I'm editing, and then I've been here for a couple months and nothing's really happened. And then it was like, well, if 1 year from now, it's like November of 2024 was when I got hired on. By November of 2025, if I'm still editing, you know, I'm down. With no like inkling of like, well, maybe.
Right.
You know, but obviously from 2024 to 2025, I did crazy things.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep like riding that wave and seeing what happens. But I don't know. I want to do something big, and I don't know what that big thing is.
It'll come.
But that's what I want to do.
I bet it will come.
It changes from being the face on Sunday to being like, you know, I love podcasts, and that's how I like consume my news.
Yeah.
And I think like that has a huge space, and that's how people are getting a lot of their like national news now. And I think that there's definitely a space for that. It's something I'm interested in, but what that looks like, does it cross over into sports? You know, because like sports is always something that I love. I don't know.
I think it'll come.
I'm just trying to go one day at a time.
You know what's interesting about that is that there are so many people I've met in journalism, especially reporters, that have a very defined time frame that they want things to happen, and it seems like if you stay too restricted in that, you're losing opportunity.
Yeah. Now I think like I feel very blessed to like have gotten into CBS Sacramento at 23.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing is that? And I never ever want to take that for granted, but I could totally see that because of my coworkers.
Yeah.
Right? You sign, I don't even know.
2 to 3 year contract.
There you go.
Yes.
I literally don't. I've never even had to sign.
Not yet.
I still don't have a contract.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so I could totally see that. You sign the 2 or 3 year contract. All right, at the end of the 2 years, now I'm jumping from 150 to 100, from 100 to one, you know.
Yep.
I see that. But for me right now, I've learned so much in this past year. Like, I'm okay taking one day at a time.
Yeah.
And just seeing what happens. Oh, you want me to go shoot a package? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, our sports guys, like, they were so great. And they were like, hey, Bella, we're going to go cover the Causeway Classic, the UC Davis versus Sac State football game. You want to shoot a little extra fluff piece for us? Heck yeah, I do. Like, they're so great. And so just being, like, okay with that it's uncertain has been hard for me. But I feel like that's where I'm at right now.
I think it's setting you up for other things, for sure, because you're letting people know that you're willing to do what you need to do within reason, but you're still willing to do it. Yeah. Any last words for folks?
Don't stop. Keep going.
There you go.
Your career isn't going to happen if you don't knock.
There you go.
The door isn't going to open if you don't knock.
Yeah, that's good advice. Well, thank you, Bella. This has been great.
No, thank you. Sorry I talked so much.
No, this is really, really great. You've got a great story to tell. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you bet. Well, that's it for this episode of Lights, Camera, Learn. You can catch us on any of your favorite podcast platforms, as well as on Patreon, where you can support us there with just a click. And you can also catch us on our website at secctv.org. Till the next episode, make it a great day. Thanks.